Dave Cook is the CEO of 100 Petals, a nonprofit that creates awareness about the disease of addiction. He's biking across the country to share his story with other families coping with the addiction of a loved one.
And then I got this call that my son was dealing with his, with a heroin addiction. He was homeless. He was living on the streets in Detroit, and he was in trouble with the law. And it just racked me, because I felt like, man, did I fail as a parent? Did I screw up as a parent? And went through that whole thing, and so I was on this rescue mission to save my son. And in my rescue mission to save my son, I realized again that there was not enough love in the world for me to save him from something that he had to save himself from. But at the time, I spent probably 18 months just completely, totally immersed in saving him. I mean, his recovery became my mission. I would drive him to meetings, I would drive him to courts, I would drive him to drug testing, I would drive him to job interviews. I did everything I could to try to keep him on track, and he was still using. And the reason he was still using, because it was his addiction. But his addiction became my problem. And his addiction became my problem to the point where the more I tried and the less I succeeded, the more I felt like I failed. And the more I felt like I failed, the deeper I went into my own personal hole. One night, it was around Christmas time, 2000, right around the year 2009. And he walked off with one of my TV sets, quit a job, walked off with the TV set. He's out on the streets, and this happened a lot, different stuff. And whenever my son was missing on the street, I would usually wake up in the middle of the night and realize, you fall asleep, then you wake up and you realize your life is a wreck. It's the kind of reverse of, people always say, you have a nightmare, and you wake up, oh, that's right, it's just a nightmare. I had the reverse. I'd fall asleep and I'd wake up, oh, that's right, my life's a nightmare. And so I would wake up in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep. And so I would go out on the porch, and a lot of times I'd just sit in the chair and I'd look up at the sky and I'd just say, God, wherever Brandon is, just please watch over him and take care of him. And then I would say a prayer for myself, say, help me get through this. And I did that a lot. And then that one night, I realized that God was working on me, and that, the thing was, man, how many times are you going to do this prayer before you do something about it? And I said, okay, if I'm going to do something about this, what can I do? And I had a conscious conversation out loud with myself, and I challenged myself to ride my bike for an hour a day for 100 days in a row, knowing that for me, that physical exercise in the morning was what I needed to start my day in a more positive place. And I did that. And I rode my bike for an hour a day for 100 days in a row, and with every bike ride, every single bike ride, I got more clarity in my life. So I just felt so empowered on the first ride that I knew that I was going to change my life. I didn't know how, I didn't know in what way. And with every bike ride, I became more and more inspired. What better way to show people that, to demonstrate to people the belief that life has to be celebrated than to get on a bike and ride, even though my son's life is in chaos. My life is not on hold because my son has an addiction. My life goes on. God has given me legs and lungs and authority and a voice and excitement, and I have to share that. I can't keep that under a jar because my son is sick. That by riding my bike, what I'm doing, not only in conveying a message of health and wealth, in this situation, but also gives me an opportunity to connect with people who don't know how to connect with other people regarding their problem. I'm not proud that my son is dealing with his addiction, but I am also not ashamed to the point where I can't talk about it. As I look back, I realized that the difference, the separation between his recovery and my recovery was about this wide, as opposed to today I'm much further apart. And I think that that's really what prompted the talk, is because I realized I'm sitting here talking to moms and dads who are dealing with the addiction in their family, and they were broken and frustrated. But the reason they were broken and frustrated is because everything success in their life was defined by their child finding recovery. And that's shy of saying impossible. It is an impossible quest, because you have moms and dads don't have any authority over their recovery. So why would they give all their power, all their freedom, all their joy, all their energy, give their entire life to somebody else, hoping that they're going to find recovery so that I can get my life back? And I think that, so when I look at my bike ride, what keeps me going? The recognition is that for me to get from Santa Monica to New York City is going to take time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take energy, it's going to take focus, it's going to take commitment. And it's going to take a consistent application of all that stuff every day for 64 days until I get there. And once I get there, then I can celebrate the outcome. But there's no way to shortcut that process. The purpose of the bike ride is to show people that, when you get your head together to do something, you can do it. Okay, so the bike ride, we have a routine. We get up in the morning, we kind of shake ourselves awake. And, the further I get into the bike ride, the more tired I am, but also the more married I am to the routine. And, I get up and I ride my bike for 4 hours, and then I stretch, and then I nap or shower or sleep or all the above, and then kind of reset, and guess what? It's the next morning and I do it again. So that's the whole thing about riding your bike is, 100 pedals, is that you get up and you ride and your mind goes for a while, and if you do that every day, next thing you know, you're somewhere else. And that's it. That is the it.
Dave Cook is on the road now supporting Cycling for Recovery. If you'd like to book a speaking gig with him, email him at dave@100pedals.com. If you'd like to support 100 Pedals and the Cycling for Recovery mission, please donate at our GoFundMe site.